What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of
Ball Status.
That's right, the podcast where we talk about the business of health and the health of business. We are joined today with my sidekick, Patrick Meaty Thighs, a.k.a. Rigid Mabe.
I don't know if you're convinced, though.
Well, if that's what you want to go with.
No, you don't get to pick nicknames.
Okay. We're also here with David Dodrill, VP of Sales and Arms Race Nutrition, and special guest, Core Elite Athlete, superstar, tropical passion, Chris Elkins. Woo!
Thank you.
Magical.
Thank you for having me. What an intro.
Yeah, I mean, we try here at Core. All right, so
You're yelling really loud.
I told you I don't need an energy drink right now because
you don't need to yell into the mic.
Well, then turn your speaker down. So quit being so rigid.
Golly.
All right. So
Starting off great.
ever since we stopped doing Red, White, and Boom, the energy drink, we have been taking on energy drink sponsors for this podcast. And today, it's a big day, David.
It's a big day.
We have Cellucor, C4.
Energy. Separate entity.
Okay, I was getting there. You just cut me off.
I'm saying you said Cellucor. It's not Cellucor.
C4 Energy.
There you go.
I know. I was about to say energy. You cut me off. Sorry. C4 Energy, thank you. So they sent a bunch of drinks. I mean, like too many to even figure out here. So I think they sent, this is the Smart
Energy, yep.
Smart Energy, which are in these, I don't know if I'm a fan of the dainty little cans.
Yeah.
And first of all, David, you act like you've been here. You already opened yours.
Yeah, other people were pushing me to get into this podcast.
You already announced
All right, C4 Energy, here we
out.
go. Let's crack into it. So you got the Smart Energy. We got Tropical Passion down on the end. I got the Starburst, authentic flavor.
I got Skittles. Tastes like a rainbow.
Ooh, you guys got the ones made out.
It does taste like chewed up Skittles, like at the end.
So this is a pink Starburst. That's tasty.
This is really good.
I feel like I want a little more, though. I want like a whole Starburst in my mouth now.
That's where the Smart Energies come in. The flavors are a little stronger.
Yeah.
Stronger energy on the Smart Energy.
Stronger
flavor on them.
Yes.
You guys want to try this one? We don't.
Yeah.
Do
Bro.
You know what? Just sip it.
Bro, I don't want your herpes.
that. We don't do that here. Try this.
He's like, somebody really tried. I feel really bad now. I honestly can't have. I will after like 2 o'clock. I'll try some. I'm really
What'd you take this
high on Castle Bravo.
Castle Bravo.
And I really feel like my head's about to explode at the moment.
Did
So
you go full juice
just
or
beware.
did you like go 17
I
grams?
still went like 17 grams, but I'm ready to like pop. It was good. It was a good workout.
This is such a great example. I want to stop for a second. Everybody's like, Doug Miller,
Must be great to work with. And Patrick's like,
no. Like, like when the whole natural conversations come up and people don't understand how
Damn, we're going
Rigid?
right in with that.
OCD you are about things.
Yeah.
Like Doug weighs his pre-work. He doesn't take a half scoop or a 3/4 scoop. He weighs it to the gram. So this is a test. Like that's just to show like how.
Is that a weird thing?
I don't think many
You
people.
you are very unique with that. The average person does not do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool.
It's great.
I do take in a lot of caffeine, so I try to I set a limit. It's 600 a day, which is a lot, but I'm very strict to it. So
Not every you don't
not
do it
even
on Sunday.
It's usually like 500. Yeah, Sunday I get like 2 energy drinks.
So
I
400.
think that's a lot on a daily basis, but for me, when I'm in prep, that's the only time I go up to 6. I'll have 2 to 3 energy drinks in a day.
I think this one baseline. It's always 300 to 400 on the pre, and then 200 in an energy drink, and that's
the cool thing for me and David is just don't track it.
we just don't care.
Just don't track
Well,
it.
he told me he had 3 energy drinks in one day,
Yeah.
and that's normal for him. So
That's might be undershooting this guy.
No, I'm a lot better with it now. Now it's about 2 or 3 energy drinks pre-workout. So about
Like 1,000.
1,000 milligrams a day.
oh my god,
Bro, never big enough, All right, so let's get into it. So we've had a couple athletes from Core on before. We've had Brian DaCosta. We talked a lot about his coaching business, which you also do, and Daraja, really. So all of you guys are essentially full-time coaches,
Yes.
which is cool. Daraja, we talked a lot about bikini competition, but for those who don't know, Chris is a world champion natural pro physique dude.
Competitor.
Competitor.
It's like you had
I think I twist. There was too many adjectives in there, so I think
athlete works.
athlete. Yeah. So last year, you got like second before, right? Second at Worlds?
By 1 point.
By 1 point. And then he came back, and last year, he is
I'm still upset about it.
but that was 2 years ago. Now you won it. You got it.
Yeah, I guess.
He's the
Do you think it
reigning
was the
world
hair?
champion in physique.
Yeah, I should have went blonde. In
Yeah, because he
2021.
was super.
So are you going blonde again this year?
For sure, yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So let's start. We have a bunch of questions for you. Let's start from the origin. Like let's learn a little bit about you. I know some of your story. I know probably, I know more than the average person probably, but there's probably a lot that I don't know. So like take us back to Chris, little tight Chris, and like how did you get to where you are today? Give us your story. Let's talk about whether it's school or work or family. Like let's talk about where you started and then where you are today.
Yeah, so I'll give you like the Cliff Notes version. So I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Put the mic a little bit closer. Put it in your mouth.
All right.
You can
Oh,
move
that's
the mic.
better. Just pull the mic towards you. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, you're so it's
Yeah,
good.
you like this?
I do. Shoot, wrong one. I meant to say.
Yeah, you like that?
Okay, sorry.
All right, so I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. My mom got pregnant when she was really young, and ended up like getting addicted to drugs. So I went and I lived with my paternal grandparents, and I think the majority of any success that I have in life to my grandma and grandpa, and my grandma just like always told me that I was the best, and why would she lie to me? So I believe her.
All right, that works.
Yeah, so I joined the Marines about a year after high school. The plan was to take a year off. I was working at Best Buy selling computers. I loved it, loved doing sales, loved technology. And a recruiter comes in from the Marines. And Virginia Beach is a very military town. I had no desire to join any military branch whatsoever.
So what year is this? I'm trying to think of what the world climate is at the time.
Oh, yeah, okay, right after 9/11. So it's
So you're ready to go.
No, I didn't have any desire, but a Marine recruiter walks in with a fancy outfit, like the uniform is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was like he said, "Don't you want to be the best?" And I was like, "Well, I am the best." and then that was it. I signed up, and here we are.
So you went through the whole Marines like boot camp? Like how's that work there?
Yeah, it's the longest, 13 weeks. It was like the most difficult experience of my life to this day, probably. And it's not even like just the physical aspect of it, because I've always been in decent shape, and it's just mentally very difficult.
Let me pause there for a second, because I find this is super interesting. I think in another life, I feel like I should have, maybe I would have gone into the military. I find it super fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, what's
you
it
already
like?
have the haircut, so
Yeah, I know, right? I'm halfway there. So you're going in there, you don't really know what to expect. So why is it so difficult? Is it lack of sleep? Is it just the rigidness of it? What is talk me through what did you actually do?
So even though you're with let's say 60 other kids that are close to the same situation, whatever, all different backgrounds, you're completely isolated in a way, because you can't refer to yourself as me. You're this recruit. You have no phone, no TV, no internet, no books, no radio, nothing. Your only form of communication to the outside world is through letters, and it's just such a strange experience. You just get completely broken down. Eventually built back up, but completely broken down to the just bare human essentials. You're told when to eat, when you can pee, when to exercise, when to think, when to, literally.
So did you enjoy that experience?
No, I hated it. Absolute worst experience. But the amount of discipline that is instilled in you it's just remarkable. There's nothing like it.
Did you feel like after you came out of that, you didn't like it, that boot camp? Did you then continue to practice those acts of discipline, or were you kind of like, no, forget this. I'm like, this sucks. I'm going to go back and eat ho-hos and sit on the couch and play video games. Not that you did that, but
I didn't do that anyway. But I had a 5-year contract. So once you get out of boot camp, then you have some more training, and then some more training, and then you go to wherever you're stationed at. And so for me, I got a really good ASVAB score.
Which is what? What is that?
That's how they decide what job you're going to get. It's just like a mental test. So they measure your general knowledge, electrical, mechanical, and then based on that, they'll assign you a job. And you can work with your recruiter and have some input. So it's based on a percentage. So if you get a 99%, a 99, then that means you did better than 99% of people out there. So I got a 96, which is a good score. especially because I took it almost a full year after high school. You know, obviously when all that stuff is fresh, you're gonna do better. You know,
Yeah.
It's like taking the SATs a year after high school. You're probably not gonna do quite as well. But anyway, so I did a very technical job called calibration. It's like test, measurement, diagnostic equipment technician. So
On what? Like machines? Or?
yeah, it's some machines like torque wrenches, pressure gauges, but the majority is like radio frequency, like oscilloscope, spectrum analyzers, power supplies.
Where were you stationed?
Okay, so the school is actually in on an Air Force base because you know they're like the most technical. So in Mississippi, and I was right before Katrina hit. So that school was about 8 or 9 months long, and then I decided, you know, I definitely have some issues, right? Like I had probably some like with the whole thing with like my mom and dad and everything. So you get 10 days off after boot camp. So I asked my girlfriend to marry me. It was like her 17th birthday, so we got married. I was 18, she was 17, crazy. And then that means that she could come with me to my first duty station or to school actually, because it was longer than 6 months. So that was like to me a way to like not be alone. You know, going through this new experience, like, you know, away from my grandparents. I don't know, it's just crazy, but that's what I did.
So did you ever get deployed, or were you?
Yeah, so so after this, so I was, they said if you get first in your class, you could choose where you know, your first station. So East Coast, West Coast, or overseas. So me and my wife had chosen East Coast, but I got first in class, obviously. So then I was like, all right, I'll take West Coast, like just split decision. So I ended up at Camp Pendleton, and then I deployed to Iraq in 2006.
Where's that? Is that San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego. Yeah. Beautiful. It was the first time in California. You know, we had a kid about, we got pregnant like 3 or 4 months after getting married, and then had my daughter. She's 18 now, finishing first year of college. And anyway, yeah, it was a great experience. 5 years. I didn't want to re-enlist, but I like took so much from the Marines. I ended up doing the same job once I got out.
So you said you did go overseas then?
2006 for 7 months.
Did you see any crazy stuff over there, or was it pretty much peacetime, or what was it?
No, it was the middle of the war. But for the job that I have, there's only like 100 of us in the Marines, so they wouldn't let us do anything. Like that's
get shot. They won't let you get shot.
On base.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty much on base. And
yeah, so it's I was at Camp TQ, so that's Camp Al Taqaddum. It's an air base, and so we just did calibration the entire 7 months.
What did you do when you got back? Obviously, you were deployed. Did you have the kid at that point?
Yeah, so I missed her second birthday. So it was like from the time she was like about 1.5 years, I got back shortly after she was 2, and then I just got back to normal.
But so what is normal? What were you doing at the time?
Yeah, so my job in the Marines is you know, was calibration. So basically you go in at like 7 in the morning.
Sorry. I meant like after you came back and you're out of the Marines. You know, you're in 5 years.
I didn't get out until like 2008. So I had to get a job. You know, I didn't know what I was gonna do, but so I looked at calibration jobs. I found a company that did basically the same thing that I did while I was in, but in the civilian side, nearby in Vista, which is like right next to Oceanside, and I worked there. Moved through the ranks quickly. They were gonna open an office in the Bay Area, and they needed someone to go up there and like open an office. So I volunteered for that. We moved up to Fremont, the Bay Area, and then just like progressed. And I bought a house in San Diego in 2009, right at the bottom of the market when everything crashed. It was a great investment. Only lived there for 6 months because I was like, you know, ambitious. I wanted to move up in the company. So rented that out, went up north, but it was just way too expensive to ever buy a house in the Bay Area. So I always like had my eyes open looking for another opportunity. Ended up taking an opportunity near Sacramento in Rockland, and that's where I've been since 2013.
Do you want to get out of Cali?
I mean, you know, there's
no, I don't. That's why I'm asking.
I think if you ask a lot of people that live in California, especially, you know, I've been there almost 20 years now. It's a beautiful place. Like,
it is crazy beautiful.
The most beautiful state. Like you have everything. You have skiing. You have the beach. You have everything. You know,
communist.
You know, there's a different political climate there, and the taxes are so high.
That's so I just visited not too long ago in the LA area.
Yeah,
and kind of where he's going, right? Like we're in this kind of like echo chamber of like California sucks, you know, like,
Right.
but I went out there and like the people are amazing. And I had a lot of conservative conversations actually. But everybody said one thing, the taxes just suck.
Yeah.
And like, I was even looking at sales tax and a lot of
How about the
things,
estate tax?
but just taxes in general.
All taxes are bad.
I
in
know.
California.
And the state tax, what, 9? Something like that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So SoCal is my favorite place ever. Like I eventually would like to go live in San Diego again.
So you stayed. So how long were you doing the calibration job? When did you kind of go? Because you don't do that now.
Right.
So when did you go all in on fitness / training and everything that?
Yeah. So 2000. So I was just looking for something competitive to do. You know, once I was out of the Marines, I had nothing. So I did.
But you were always working out during this time. You always.
Yeah. But I was never consistent with weightlifting. But I was doing stuff like I did a half marathon. I did a triathlon. I did like Tough Mudder and, you know, all those like obstacle course races and stuff. And then I started riding bikes, did like a 150-mile bike ride. Like, was it like always doing something? But then I didn't have like anything like that could be like really passionate that I could, you know, be competitive and actually be pretty good at either. Yeah. And then I went on YouTube in like so I broke my finger. I was doing a lot of indoor rock climbing, broke my finger playing football with one of my employees. And I had to get surgery on it. It was like a pretty bad oblique fracture on my pinky, put in 2 screws. When I went back to rock climbing, it was like a lot more difficult. My hands were sweating really bad because of like the pain or whatever. You know, I rehabbed it and everything. But anyway, so I was like, well, I like the way rock climbing made me look. Like physically, I looked good, you know. But it just wasn't as fun anymore. So I started lifting. But so when I do anything, I'm like, I go all in, you know, like you probably. Yeah. So I went online looking for like the best workout split. Like if I'm gonna do this, I want to do this well, you know. So and then I found like Greg O'Gallagher from Kino Body, found the Hodge twins. I found Martin Burke and the intermittent fasting guy. This is what was popular like 2011.
I was gonna
2012.
say you found a lot. You found a lot.
Yeah, and then eventually that led to Matt Ogus, and so it was like 2012. Imagine this is the time frame. 2012. I'm seeing his Matt versus Mayhem series, and it had already happened in 2011. So I'm like, oh, there's a thing called natural bodybuilding. I thought you had to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I thought you had to be. Like,
what is Matt versus Mayhem? Remind me. Is that it was? He was getting
series,
but he was getting ready for the Mayhem.
Yeah, the Muscle Mayhem.
Got it.
When it was an IFPA show in Sacramento, and I was like, oh wow, I'm in Fremont. Sacramento's not that far away. It's like, you know, less than 2 hours. And he was working with 3DMJ, a group of natural pro bodybuilders and coaches, and I was like, wow, these guys are actually fairly local. So I thought, okay, if this guy can do it, why can't I? Not realizing like he had already been lifting for like 5 years, and I haven't been lifting consistently ever, really, just like inconsistently here and there. But I had a decent developed physique. I was already like 27, 28. Anyway, long story short, I hired him. I got Jeff Alberts as a coach. You
went with 3DMJ.
Yeah, I went with 3DMJ. I got Jeff Alberts was my coach, and I did 4 shows that season. And I did.
Now, is this physique or is this bodybuilding?
Bodybuilding, yeah. So I did both. In my first show, it was the NPC. It was like a warm-up show.
I was gonna say physique must just started to come on at this point.
Had just started, and I practiced
in natural bodybuilding or in
just in general. I mean,
yeah.
It first started NPC, but then quickly natural bodybuilding got like within a year they got on it.
Yeah. So I think I did. Yes, I did the Contra Costa NPC show as a warm-up show, and I did both bodybuilding and physique. And I had practiced bodybuilding poses so much that I just wasn't good at physique posing because Jeff couldn't really show me.
Patrick, show me your pose.
Yeah.
the flutter.
We can work on that.
Yeah, I was going to say we can work on that.
We need some work.
Chris is like,
we need some
nah.
work.
So I've come a long way because like I had I thought I would do really well in physique, and then I got dead last. And then, but it was it was competitive too. They didn't have a novice class for physique back then. There was just one class. Anyway, so then, and I won the bodybuilding. I won like novice lightweight. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm better at bodybuilding. So I just did bodybuilding from then on out for the next like 8 years.
And then, so what?
6 years.
So did you work up your ranks in like natural bodybuilding? Did you win your pro card in the?
Yeah. So not the first year. So actually, by the end of that first contest prep season, I was actually on stage with Matt Ogus. So it kind of like came full circle, And I competed against him at the Muscle Mayhem. He won the class. I got second. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is the dude that inspired me to compete, and then now I'm competing with him.
Did you get to know him like before all that? Like,
kind of because of 3DMJ, you know. So he was being coached by Eric Helms.
Did you know Matt Skirky through 3DMJ as well?
Mm-hmm. I knew, kind of. I mean, he was also coached by Jeff Alberts.
Right.
Yeah. So so
but at this point in time, you're still working.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So basically, you know, my transformation was pretty cool. Like, I bulked for, I don't know, a few months, gained 25 pounds, you know, did it super fast.
Good old days.
Yeah. And then, you know, dreamer bulk. And then I worked with Jeff, and we took 6 months, and I got down to basically the weight that I started at, but I looked completely different. So it was very effective. Like, everything, you know, it was my first time like tracking macros, first time working with a coach, first time following a game plan like this. First time that in my life that I was like feeling like a real athlete, you know, even though it was still like, you know, winning novice shows and stuff. Right. What is that really? But you know, everyone starts somewhere, and that's where I started. And I started documenting everything on YouTube and Instagram, and it was all like still pretty new, you know, like if you think about
Instagram
it compared
for
to
sure.
now. Yeah. And but the YouTube was actually more popular, and I was posting my videos, like vlogging and stuff on bodybuilding.com forums, and then people started reaching out and saying, "Hey, like, can you coach me?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not a coach. I'm just a guy, you know." And they were like, "Nah, man, I think you could coach me. Like, can you just show me what you do?" And I'm like, so basically, I just took what I had learned from Jeff, and I just applied it to a couple people, and I helped this guy get abs for the first time. And like, that's always in my mind. I always think back to that moment in time where, like, it was summer of 2013. I helped a guy in just a few months who couldn't lose weight get abs for the very first time in his life. And he's like mid-20s. And I was like, yo, maybe I could be a coach. Like, this was like a very fulfilling, rewarding endeavor. And I was only I knew I had to charge something, because if you don't charge, people are not going to take anything. Like, so I was charging like $30 or $40 a month. Crazy, right? And I was giving them like the same, like full on, like everything that I was, you know, getting from 3DMJ. But I only charged like such a low amount because I knew I needed to charge something, but I didn't think I deserved to charge that much. I'm not certified in anything, and everything's just my own research and what I got from working with Jeff. And anyway, so it just kept growing from there until.
So when did you quit your
2000? Yeah, so May 2017. You know, I took that job in Sacramento, and I had the freedom. I was doing sales now instead of the actual service of calibration. I was mainly selling, renting test equipment for a company called, shout out to Test World. Shout out to Lucian. So they were very supportive, like the whole competing thing. So I won my pro card in 2015. They were like, oh, you know, your stuff is taking off. We're so proud of you. And they just like, you know, really gave me good support. My ex-wife and my coworkers, all very supportive. And Instagram just really took off in 2016. So coaching just started getting a lot busier. And like, you know, I registered the LLC. Now it's an S corp, but with Cutting Edge Physiques is the name of my company. And yeah, just everything grew. I had a really good process.
Do you still do a decent amount of YouTube? Or are you mostly the Instagram content at this point?
Well, yeah, so the Instagram content obviously is a little bit easier to create, but I still do create YouTube videos.
How often are you posting a YouTube video?
Yeah, so it might have been like a year now since I've really posted, but
I actually didn't know the answer to that. I was just asking.
Yeah.
Consistency, I like.
I want to get back on it for sure. I really enjoy the longer form content.
Is YouTube still like the biggest
it kills.
platform?
It's like the biggest search engine besides like Google.
Yeah.
Did you profit more when you switched to Instagram? Like what dropped off for YouTube?
It had nothing to do with really me or the content or anything, because I had a period in 2018 where I was doing daily videos with a professional. Like, my friend is a professional videographer. He was editing my videos. So every night we'd film, send them, post them. So I did that for like 55 days in a row, thinking, okay, this is going to be it. This is going to be the year that my shit blows up.
And did it blow up? It didn't grow?
No, didn't grow at all. It's just bad luck. I mean, I had good thumbnails. The quality. If you look at these, go back and look at these videos. I got drone footage. I got high-end camera. Like,
some influencer, like, you gotta take some notes, Dave.
Imagine 55 videos in a row daily, and they're good. And it's like the beginning of a prep, and that was
like Christian Guzman.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, and it was good, and everyone that watched it loved it, but not enough people watched it and just didn't. I have 30,000 on YouTube, so it's not like I'm like nothing, not like terrible. But most videos were getting like 2,000 to 4,000 views. Bro, I post a 10-second video on Instagram and it gets like 100,000 views. It's like, it's hard to like the amount of effort.
Do you do them TikToks?
I do, yes. I got about 100K on TikTok, and
how many followers do you have on Instagram right now? 3 something?
330, yeah. So, as you know, back to your original question, it wasn't my choice. It was just Instagram is what blew up. So I just do what the people want.
Was that as lucrative? So, like, when I think about this, just like from my standpoint of watching different influencers do stuff, you have those that stay on Instagram and they make money on Instagram. Now I know people make a decent amount on TikTok, but YouTube's a big one. You can make a lot of money on YouTube.
Yeah.
So where do you like sit back and go, do you care more about the following or do you care more about the profit from doing it?
No. I mean, I'm not money motivated. Like, anyone that knows me knows that. Like, obviously, I need to support my family, but I do things because I like to, or the feedback is good or whatever. So Instagram just gave me better feedback. Like, the engagement was higher. The amount of effort you put in compared to what you get back from it was better on Instagram. But all that being said, if you have a good, like, there's people that make video, like Paul Revelia does really well on YouTube. I mean, he kills it. I'm not a fan of that type of video. So
you need more gray hair. It's the key. The gray hair, just like that silver fox, man.
Yeah, if you look
Well, he
old,
was when he won the show.
you look old and you have a good physique.
Yeah, and you just like, you look like esteemed, right? Like, man, this guy knows something. He's got gray hair. Man, he must be smart.
He's wise.
Yeah, he's wise.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining
So
me
what
with
is-
gray hair. It's just this rigid.
Rigid old man. Yeah, you already are a rigid old man.
Sitting on the porch in a rocking chair.
Yeah, smoking his pipe.
With a gun.
I wasn't going to say it, but
Get off my lawn. So what does your business look like today?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean,
You started coaching people, and then you were doing this one-on-one coaching. I don't think you have like an app. You're not like one of the app coaches. Like Brian DeCosta's app is crazy.
I don't like apps.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, let me take that back. It's not that I don't like apps. I just don't like losing the personal, you know what I mean? Like
But then you can't scale. You can't scale as
who cares?
okay. Well, yeah, that's right. So like that's a decision.
Yeah, I'm not trying to have 10 coaches working under me. I forget what they call it, Indopreneur. It's like an entrepreneur, but you do everything yourself.
Okay.
That's I mean, not that I do everything. Like,
So how many clients do you like? What's your workload look like in terms of clients? How many are you willing to take on at a time?
I mean, I haven't really reached the cap, so
So anyone, if you would need a coach, reach out to Chris.
And here's the other thing: is I don't do high ticket coaching. I just think that's a ripoff. Like, no disrespect to the high ticket coaches out there, but I just feel like I'm not.
Well, you talk about your rates, or do you want people to reach out to you?
They're published on the website.
And
so
what's a high ticket? So I guess help me in the
$300 a month is high ticket. $500 a month high ticket. What's it?
see, I feel like here I am. It's like gonna be kind of like I'm talking shit about my friends, but I just
Well, listen, it's not your thing.
it's
doesn't
not
mean
ethical to me, in my opinion. Honestly, like, I get it. There's a market and a niche for everything, and if somebody makes $1 million a year, then maybe there's no pain in a $500 for 3 months. They need $2,500 to make it feel like that they can stick with this. But I just don't. Again, someone that makes $1 million a year is not money motivated anyway. So I don't think it's the money that's paying something is something, whether it's $500 or $1,500.
Well, so the one thing about that though is maybe you don't think it's fair, but I don't think the word ethical should come into there, because at the end of the day, we work in free markets, right?
Right.
We're a free market society. So like, if I say like, listen, I still work with literally I used to work with dozens and dozens, hundreds of people, right? I don't do that anymore. But I've said, like, listen, if somebody still wants me to coach them, my time value right now is so high that, okay, here's my rate, and that is my rate. And,
Right.
and I would definitely be
I
probably
the high ticket. I get
high
it,
ticket.
and I don't disagree with you. But the difference.
So it's a supply and demand.
No. Let me finish. So let me clarify what I was saying. Basically, the difference is these guys that do the high ticket coaching, they use tactics to get people interested, and then they use more tactics to close them and tell them why they should be spending $2,500 for 3 months instead of $500 or whatever. Also, these consumers they don't know.
So it's more a sales process than it is a coaching process.
Right. These guys
You know what's
are not
even worse
good
than that?
coaches. They're
the
good
coaches
salespeople.
to coach the coaches to do the sales drives me
100%.
crazy, because they can't even coach anybody.
Right.
I have somebody in mind that drives me crazy. I don't know why I still follow her. It's just, every time I see it, I'm like, and you talk about how much money you make. You're a fucking loser.
Do we want to drop names?
Sorry.
Golly, you need to unfollow now.
Yeah.
Golly.
I don't know what button I was about to push.
Honestly, you should unfollow people like that, because they're
For
just going to
sure. When that negative energy comes in, when you see that person and all that like creeps in, you got to unfollow right away.
I think for me,
is this Brian's ex-girlfriend? Is that who you're talking about?
No, actually, No, I know who you're talking about. No, it's not. It's similar.
I know who you're talking about.
Similar situation, but no.
Yeah.
I would say that she is way more qualified than even the person that I'm talking about. And so for me, I usually see that as I know I'm on the right path, so I don't need to unfollow it because I don't get worked up like that. I'm just like, you are a loser. I don't care if you make $5 million a year, you're still a loser. And so to me, that just motivates me.
A rich loser.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And you can be that if that's what you want to be. It just
they're not fulfilled. That's not fulfilling for them.
Confirms what I am doing is what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I don't.
Same. Like I know I can make more money by charging more, more per customer. I could also hire a bunch of coaches, or I could actually get coaches.
You could also get on OnlyFans.
Yeah, true. I know without a shadow of a doubt I can make $30,000 a month on OnlyFans. But
what type of content are we posting here, Chris?
I don't even have to post full nude. I can post implied nude, shots of my butt, like stuff like that.
I feel like there's been a lot of thought given to this.
No, I mean, there has. I'll be dead honest. There has been, because I get asked every single day. So
is this a gay following or is this a female following?
No, yeah, gay for sure. Yeah,
they spend the money.
100%. They're horny. What? So
I love this.
I don't even know where are we going on this podcast.
I have a 18-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son, and then and also I have strong morals. But they're like, yeah, you should do OnlyFans. That's my kids, and I'm like, I don't know. My son was against it, but now he's not anymore.
Well, what would you do OnlyFans for? Like literally just you working out with your shirt off, still knowing that it's probably a huge gay following.
It's not so much about it, like. I love gays. It's not that like they're.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying like it's like erotica.
Right.
Like you could say women watching you for your abs, right? Like people are jerking off to you, or masturbating or whatever. No, I'm just.
What are we talking about?
I'm trying to be real. We're getting serious podcasting here.
This is the Chris Elkins podcast, everybody.
The reason that I don't do it is because I already make that content for free on. No, I'm just saying, like, I don't feel right charging for stuff that I already provide.
Basically, so if you follow Chris Elkins on Instagram, you're getting spank bank material.
Well,
mainly my TikTok.
Let me understand OnlyFans a little bit more. So, like, in a lot of cases, so like, let's say your case, right? So you're saying that a lot of people are on OnlyFans. They might be posting the same type of content that they do on Instagram.
Yeah, my friend Hector basically.
Which is like, you have a big chest, right? And abs, right? So like you would post that kind of content on OnlyFans. It wouldn't get like full nude. It would just be like shirt off, which is already on your Instagram.
Just doing shirt off only, I could probably make $10,000.
But people just want to be on that platform.
You want a business partner? You want a manager? We can start. He's gonna. Look, I'm an entrepreneur. We can like. I'll be your pimp if that's what you want.
Dang on.
Man, listen, I'm still thinking about it. Right?
No, I mean, we have. I don't think she'll care that I talk about this, but Natasha Augie she's an athlete for Arms Race. She has an OnlyFans, but with hers, it's kind of the same thing. Like you get some of her like revealing content on Instagram, but like she doesn't go full nude. She doesn't post like
porn.
Yeah. It's just her working out or like suggestive poses. But dude, I mean, she rakes in a lot just from that. So,
but again, that goes back to your, like, if she's basically posting revealing nude stuff, like that stuff lives on the internet forever.
That's the thing.
You're going to be you might be a mom at some point. Do you really want your kids seeing that stuff?
Well, that's why I talk to my kids about it. And, my daughter's like 100%. She's always said do it. And then my son at first was like, because of thought about school, getting bullied or whatever. But now he's like, nah, you should do it. And then I think like, okay, if I can make... Well,
they're probably proud of you. Like my dad's jacked. He's world champion. Like,
but like to put my butt on the internet is a little... I mean, my butt's on the internet
listen, we're going to reel this in. We're going to keep it PG. We're going to keep the butt covered. We're just going to show the abs and the chest.
Like a leaf.
10 G's. We're talking $5,000 each. It's easy.
I'm just saying, like, if I could... basically do nothing. It's almost like doing nothing, right? Like I already take pictures of myself on a daily basis. So to equal what I make or make more than what I make already in coaching, like that's great. It would free up so much time. Like I could take less clients, or I could like, I don't know. It's great.
I guess it's also, you got to think about it as a scalable. You're not going to be jacked the same way you are now at 38 as you will be when you're 60. Right. Like, so like what Chris is like, well, maybe, but like, so like,
really in my head.
But then you go to like, you get that old crowd in there. They got money. They got disposable income. Anyways, so, but yeah, I mean, you got to really think about the scalability. Like you can coach forever.
True.
You know, especially because the more clients that you see that you build up,
Right,
the
the
other
word of
people
mouth.
that you build out, it doesn't matter really at that point what you look like. There's a lot of great coaches now that don't necessarily look the part. I don't believe in that. I feel like you should practice what you preach.
100%.
But it's definitely a more longer term, scalable, and more probably ethical and moral sound, path.
Yeah.
So,
Which maybe is a good segue to like, what drew you to Core Nutritionals? Because I feel like we're an ethical, moral, and valued type company. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 100%.
way to reel it in, Pat. Way to be.
I mean,
I
dude,
love it.
all of that shit we just talked about is demonic as a mother. Like
Yes.
all this,
But-
and I'm super uncomfortable that we just went down that rabbit hole.
No, so I
OnlyFans program.
totally disagree because yes, I agree that it is demonic, but I feel like it needs to be talked about, right? Because
I
I
don't
think
think it's demonic. It's definitely hedonistic.
which is kind of demonic.
I mean, we're not like satanic or something. I mean, but it's definitely sinful for sure.
I think it leads. It's almost like a gateway, and it's
I
where
agree.
the devil creeps into your life, depending on your belief system, right? Like it's definitely
Lust and porn and everything.
all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? But I think it is something that needs to be talked about because it's real world. And so I don't want to ever avoid that conversation. So we went there because it kind of came up. I did make jokes about it, which is fine. That's kind of what I'll do when we get to a situation like that. But I think those are the conversations that need to be had. And like the real, that's a real, some people make the decision because they feel like they're in a corner and they can't support their family unless they do that.
Right.
Right. But then you got to think about the moral and ethical and all the side effects that come from that, yeah, that's going to be on the internet forever. Right. Like you are a mother and a leader for your family, like, or father or whatever. Right. Like, so you got to think about that. And it's just like, is that the right decision?
Right. Like I wouldn't want my daughter having an OnlyFans.
Exactly.
Nothing against. I don't shame other people that have OnlyFans, but for me that's a big reason why I haven't made one, because I wouldn't want my daughter to make one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like hopefully that makes sense.
That's good.
And then as for like what drew me to Core Nutritionals, it is the integrity and the discipline and the commitment and just everything that the brand stands for just really resonates with me. And then I felt like the last. I've had a wild ride these last 4 or 5 years, and I feel like you guys are very down to earth, and it's like something that I need, and that's like really what drew me.
Well, that's good. I mean, we are super excited to have you on board. I think you do really fit our culture, and I love that you're here. I know we've talked for years kind of to like try to get you over here, so I'm glad it's working out now. So let's talk a little bit about the difficulties or the struggles you've had over the past 5 years. Like, what are you willing to talk about some of those and the negative, like, how do you deal with the negativity and drama? Like, is this something that, a lot of people go into like when they have really negative things in their life, they go into like a deep, dark depression. Or were you able to avoid that during these troubling times? So let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, so I've been very fortunate to have such a very like positive, optimistic outlook on life. And while I'm not like impervious to feeling down, there's been periods over the last 3 years where I felt depressed, and I've had to like really deal with things like the whole, the thing with my mom, and I went through a divorce in 2019 and had relationship issues for like the next 3 to 4 years, where I was in a turbulent, tumultuous relationship where it was like very off and on, like a roller coaster, and I felt very almost addicted to that relationship.
The highs and the lows of the relationship.
Yeah. It becomes very addicting, and like that feeling that you get and the anxiety. And so I think I've always had anxiety since I was a kid, but I've always been really good. Like my hands are like sweating right now. This is like, I just deal with this.
I can see that glistening from over
But
here.
is that just because it is hot in here? Is that like literally just like...
I have hyperhidrosis. I've had it for palmar and plantar, so my feet and hands just be sweating. And mostly...
Is it's so kind of regularly all the time, or is it really amplified when like
in
maybe
like
some anxiety or stress?
Nervous situation, right. Like, this, or like caffeine actually kicks it up a bit, or lack of sleep, when you just have a little bit of anxiety because you didn't sleep well or whatever. The moment I'm not an advocate of drinking, but I do enjoy to have an alcoholic beverage here and there when I'm in the off season. But as soon as I take one sip of alcohol, completely goes away. So it's like, and this.
So is that scary?
I mean, yeah. Like I'd like to have like if we had took a shot before this, I would like my hands wouldn't sweat and I'd be like way more comfortable.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I feel like that. I feel like that's scary though, because that means like you can then eventually
become an alcoholic or something.
Yeah, become dependent on alcohol.
I don't really use it to cope like that. I mean,
and do you drink ever on prep or
no? Never.
Do you pull a Brian DaCosta getting hammered like 4 weeks out and then eating Subways the day before? Oh wait, sorry, I shouldn't say that.
No.
Then he worked out with you and threw up.
I love you, Brian.
That's funny. No, I mean, I'm like, without trying to sound like, like I don't have any humility. Like I'm the most successful WNBF pro physique guy that there is. And so, obviously I take prep very seriously. There's a few times during prep that I'll drink, like on my birthday, August 23rd. So I usually prep during my birthday. So I usually drink on that day. And then maybe I'll have a celebratory drink like the night of a show, assuming that I have a couple weeks before the next one.
Well, let's talk. We got a couple minutes left here. Let's talk quickly about the focus of this year. So do you feel more pressure now that you are the champ?
Maybe a little bit,
okay.
But I like that.
You like that?
Yeah. This offseason, I'll be dead on. Like I've had some rough off seasons. We kind of just were. Man, I wish we had more time. We
can extend.
We were talking about mental health, and we were talking about these last 4 years, how up and down it's been, and the relationship. So depression, like I haven't talked about this. I'm on Zoloft.
Okay.
And I feel like that's the reason. And this is crazy. So I went through a breakup about 2 months ago, and to me, it's the last breakup. Like I'm not gonna go back and forth again.
Yeah.
And I think I honestly believe Zoloft is the reason why I've been able to not go back. So what would happen is we'd break up. I would feel extremely sad, like depressed. I wouldn't like stop me from doing anything in life. I actually, I won several shows and went and had very successful contest preps while feeling very depressed and down.
Yeah.
And I was still uplifting, I think, in general to my community and my people, and still, did a great job as a dad and everything. But I would always end up getting back together because I would feel like that's the only way that I would get out of this sadness. So even if I wasn't completely happy in the relationship, I was less sad than not being in the relationship at all. But being on Zoloft, it like put a cap to how sad I can get. So instead of dipping below that threshold of sadness where I need to get back together, instead it was like, I can live with this and I can be okay being by myself alone or talking
so
to
you
people.
Feel like you're in a better spot now going into this year than maybe you were going into last year, or
exactly. Like this is the happiest I've ever been in my life, and I think I 100% could come off Zoloft anytime. I just want to make sure that like I don't feel depressed again and end up going back.
I know there's a lot of people out there that medicate, and I think generally
I was never a fan of it, by the way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have this negative. We shouldn't be over medicating our kids. We're doing all this, but there is some real science behind the chemicals of your brain that there are certain situations where it is the right thing, and people need to be okay with understanding. Yeah, you might need to be medicated and there should not be that negative stigma around it. So I think it's important.
Can I ask if you've like noticed any side effects from it, or is it a hindered?
No negative side effects. There's some like sexual side effects, but they're not really negative. Like, you know of them.
I've been on depression medication.
Well, now I'm curious. I want to like
the time it takes to come to ejaculate is longer.
You're desensitized to a lot of things.
You last longer. Yeah. But my sex drive's not any lower, really. Like, you just last longer.
What a world. we got it.
Doug's on depression medication tomorrow, guys.
Anyway, so I'm actually on the lowest possible dose, like 25 milligrams. Right after the last breakup, I went up to 50, and then I just actually started feeling kind of numb in life. So I was like, I'll go back to 25. And I think I could be off on it. Like I could stop. Like I'm not a depressive person. This is like more of like external things in life that made me decide to do
So I will say kicking it is very interesting because you mentally can kick it, but you will notice the negative side effects of your body once you do. When I got off of it years ago, it was you do notice like your body's kind of craving it because
really?
Now it's like I was getting hot and cold chills in the same day. Just like it was like 3 days of just under blankets. Like what is going on?
Oh wow!
But like you notice your body react to it that way rather than you do on it.
What were you taking specifically?
Tren.
No.
Wait. Oh, that's not.
I'll have to look back and look, but it would start with a P. But it's in Zoloft.
Prozac?
No. It was like a really long pregnenolone. No.
Pregnenolone? You're on I'm on that pregnenolone.
No, it was a very
stuff.
long, but it started with a P. It was a very long name, but I mean, it's been 8 years since I've been off of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was one of the things like you did notice, like your body, it was craving it after that.
Yeah.
So, are we going to win this year or what?
Yes.
buddy?
Defending the world title. That is the number one goal.
So then what is the plan after that? You come back, you win the two-time WNBF world champ physique guy, athlete. I always mess that up.
Four-time.
So you're going to come back. So what about the NPC route? Because, your physique, I think you did nationals in bodybuilding, right? And because of weight classes, like you could hang with the enhanced guys.
100%. I am very close to winning that IFBB Pro card in bantamweight bodybuilding.
So
I just need to get leaner.
What place did you get?
4th. Top 2 get the card.
And it's a problem a little bit with timing, right? Because of the WNBF Worlds, you don't want to get too lean and lose your fullness for that.
Yep, exactly.
I feel like we've talked about that before.
Yeah, no, that's 100% what it is. So I'm about 10 pounds, almost 10 pounds heavier. So let's say peak conditioning, a solid 5 pounds. And that's, that's like another 6 weeks.
That's your glutes coming completely in.
Yeah.
Which you don't need in physique.
Right.
But then you lose some fullness up top.
Right. So I get overall smaller in the upper body.
So you want to keep doing the WNBF. You don't want to push it. Take a year. Say you win next year. You don't want to take a year off and run for the IFBB?
If I was going to do it, if I won this year, in the world championship, then maybe I would look for the first national show
to qualify.
Yeah, like April or whenever it is, That way
Sorry, I didn't interrupt. I'm looking at the time too. But are you completely checked out of the idea of ever like trying to get on a different stage and not be natural? Like you're 38.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of the people we talk to, that's like, maybe. Like you're at this age to where like your testosterone could get low soon.
Right. This is a great question. I don't think I'm at risk for my testosterone getting low. I mean,
he's the best, bro.
Best, but he's 38.
That's my grandma, bro.
Yeah.
No, but my son still thinks that like if I win, natural 3 years in a row world championship, he's like, then you should hop on a cycle and show people that you're natural. Because there's still people that don't believe I'm natural. Like, look how small I am, guys. Like, I'm natural, but I just think at that point, like, this is my brand, being natural, and like 3-time, if that were the goal, I just don't know. Like, if you do I think I can make the Olympia at freaking 40 years old? Maybe. I don't know.
Can you do physique, or are you too small with the physique guys now?
Yeah, they're too big now.
And that's why the band works.
But I've got 4th place also in a stacked national class back in 2020. And I think, if I found that, like, if I got lucky with the right show, with the A class, like, because I'm short, I have kind of an advantage there. And I've been very close. Top 2, get IFBB Pro card. I've been 4th in physique. Top 2, get IFBB Pro card. For bodybuilding, I've been 4th in bodybuilding. So it's like, it's so close that I could taste it. But the owner of the WNBF, I'm promoting a show for them this year, September 16th, the NorCal Natural Championship in Sacramento area. So if you guys are looking for a first-time show, this would be a great one for you to do. Anyway, so because I'm promoting a show, the owner of the WNBF is like, hey, as a promoter, we can't have you we can't have you competing in other organizations because it's like a conflict of interest, which I think is, kind of agree, kind of don't. Whatever. Yeah. It is what it is. Like, I'm trying to bring more awareness to natural bodybuilding by winning an IFBB Pro card. Yeah. Trying to show what is possible, what you can do with, And
that's why you're such a good fit with this brand.
It's on hold for now. So
yeah. That's awesome.
I think I see a lot of like external. So like picking up from this conversation, you are who you are here in this heart, right? And there's a lot of external influence, which is,
I like where this goes.
Society, right? Society pushes us all the time to be doing a certain to be doing OnlyFans or to take your business to this level, but it just doesn't settle right. And like sometimes that gut feeling of goes back to like your values and who you are in your heart. Just like do that.
Right.
The success will come as long as you stay in your lane of like who I am, what values do I have, and then everything else will just fall in place.
I agree with you.
I think the second that you start to venture off that for external pressures is when like now it's just starting to get like this, right? Like you might get like $30,000 that's coming in and all the things are great, but then you might get derailed and start going backwards because you went away from who you truly are.
Well, and I think the problem is a lot of and we're going to wrap this up here in a second, but one last comment piggybacking on that is the problem is also our society today is making things that might not be a part of your core values or sit right in your heart or your belief system, they're making those okay, right? And they're normalizing them. They're normalizing pornography. They're normalizing the sexualization of just about everything.
Right.
And you know that doesn't sit right or doesn't feel right with you, but you have everyone telling you, oh, you can make this much money, or, oh, that's okay. Like, that's just the freedom. Like, that there's nothing wrong with that, right? And that's what makes it really easy for young people these days to go down that path.
Right. And I think, just you have to set, like, obviously, on my TikTok there's a lot of thirst trap stuff, but I think you have to set your line. And for whoever it is, like, some person might have a different standard than you, but for me, my standard is not really selling, implied nudes or whatever, It's like wherever you draw the line, you have to stick with it. And that's where I'm at, at this moment in life. And I agree with you. Like, I want to stay true to myself. And so if that means making a little bit less money, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't have to make more money. Like, I don't need to scale my coaching to where I'm no longer getting fulfilled by working with clients. Like,
one of our core values is ethics over money.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were talking about it yesterday, and that's the one that stood out to you. You're like, I really like that.
I did, yeah. But I actually, when the video I recorded, I went with the be a servant, though. That's the one I liked. Because I feel like if you build relationships, everything else works. Like, if you provide that value, whatever it might be, like, the success will come, like you said.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Chris, this was an awesome podcast. Yeah. Like, I thought this was really good because we went in some different directions that, I actually wasn't planning on going. So, but that was super cool. And that's what makes great podcasts. So we appreciate you being on this podcast. Appreciate you being part of Core. So love you, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Until next time, guys, keep crushing it.